Hello, beloved, and welcome to Life in Common podcast. I'm your host, Annette Rose, and I'm excited to share with you today this introductory episode, which we're calling And Why Not? So let me share a few fun facts with you. There are currently 2 million podcasts as of 2021. There are 48 million episodes in rotation. Over 50% of homes in North America have listened to and enjoy podcasts. Now, you might ask, why all of this craze about podcasts? And I'll tell you why. It's because never before have we lived through a pandemic. As a matter of fact, it was 1918 the last time that we had a pandemic, and none of us were around. None of us have lived through a Me Too movement where finally women's voices are being heard and they are feeling empowered. None of us have lived through a movement like Black Lives Matter. Now, compare the 1960s to the current day of social media, where we can actually see what is happening in the lives of our brothers and sisters. So many things are happening in our world for the first time, and people have a lot to say. So people listen to podcasts in their homes, at the gym, on their commutes, and I just decided I wanted to be a part of that movement, okay? So yes, it seems like everybody and their uncle is doing a podcast, and this episode is called And Why Not? I have been stopped. People have said to me, oh my gosh, I wanted to do a podcast. I was thinking about doing it. It's really what I want to do. And I say to everybody that asks me, go for it. I mean, I'm in a genre and in a field that a lot of people that I know are already doing podcasts. As I said, there are over 2 million. People are doing it to a level that is very professional. People that I personally know, they're having celebrity guests. I mean, the imaging is great and the audio is great. I mean, it's very intimidating, but I do know that we all have something to say, which is why my podcast is called Life in Common. So I'm going to tell you a few facts about me, and I just want to know if you can resonate. I'm a mother. I was married. I am divorced. I am a worker. I have post-secondary education. I have had 2 jobs. I have creative thoughts, and yet I have personal struggles. There's so many things about me that if you think about it, has anything that I said resonated with you? I have had to deal with death and dying. I am middle-aged. And all of these things allow me to know that we all share life in common. Now, yes, it is true that in years past, I used to host a talk show on YouTube. Now, this was pre-Zoom and pre-podcast. I used to interview local artists. And subsequently, I also MC. I host events and concerts and showers and weddings. And I also sing. But all of that, I believe, has led me to today. Now, nothing has resonated more with people in my circle, on my social media, than when I decided to start posting Wednesday Wake Ups. So for those of you who are not familiar, Wednesday Wake Ups was just a weekly post on my Facebook and my Instagram about thoughts that came to me. And they were thoughts like living with regret, how to deal with uncertain times. We did interviews with people about marriage and divorce and separation. We talked about finances. We talked about mental health. And what happened was I would go to work and people would stop me and say, wow, like, your message on Wednesday was so good. I look forward to hearing it. You made me call somebody who I haven't spoken to. I began to get suggestions of people who would say, can you do this topic? Can you do this? And I've had people crying, literally crying with me because of some of the things that resonated on the Wednesday Wake Ups. Now, Wednesday Wake Ups are about 2 to 3 minutes. It's just my thoughts. So I began to see that there was an impact being made. But what people didn't know, that Wednesday wake-ups were truly therapeutic for me, because I was able to share an idea, get ideas from other people on how they deal with things, and just begin to regulate my mind when it comes to certain topics. So that was therapeutic as well as it was helpful to others. And that is really where the concept and the idea of life in common came from, because we all share life in common. So for this introductory episode, I want to just introduce you to some of the things that we might be talking about. We will be talking about anxiety. We will be talking about getting older. We will be talking about dating in our 40s. We will be talking about rearing adult children, rearing teenagers. We will be talking about life. We'll be talking about miscarriages. We'll be talking about topics that pertain to so many people, because we all share life in common. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to start thinking about your own stories. And if you do not have a platform just yet, I want you to consider joining me here in the Life in Common podcast studios, where you can share your stories, because your stories will absolutely help somebody else, no matter how insignificant you think your experiences are. You don't go through things just for yourself. You go through things to help others. And there's a statement that I heard that I kind of live by, that I don't want to just be breathing. I want to be living. So we have our experiences and we're just going through life and we're just breathing because we're alive. But are we truly living? And expressing our stories and sharing our experiences will allow us to not only just breathe, but to live. That concludes our very first introductory episode of Life in Common. So we're aiming for a weekly podcast on Fridays, and I look forward to hearing you. Now listen to me. This is where you come in. Leave comments, like the videos, head over to our mediums, and they will be posted as to where you can listen to them, and think of ideas. I want to hear from you. None, me, yes, you in particular. I want to hear your story if you're willing to tell it. And if you change even one person's experience, you have done a great thing with your life. So thanks, everybody. This has been Life in Common. Ciao for now.